Morning everyone, basa na ng Bible guys. 1 Samuel chapter 25 and 26 and Luke chapter 12 verse 32 to 59. Yung karugtong lang yung kahapon sa Luke. So kung April 14 na natin ngayon, dito muna tayo sa 1 Samuel chapter 25. David, Nabal, and Abigail. Now Samuel died, and all Israel assembled and mourned for him, and they buried him at his home in Ramah. Then David moved on into the desert of Maon. A certain man in Maon who had property there at Carmel was very wealthy. He had 1,000 goats and 3,000 sheep, which he was shearing in Carmel. His name was Nabal, and his wife's name was Abigail. Ang yaman. Ang daming ano. She was an intelligent and beautiful woman, but her husband, a Calebite. What is Calebite? Was surly, in his dealings. Yung babae, mabait, matalino at maganda. Pero yung husband, not good. But her husband, a Calebite, was surly and mean in his dealings. While David was in the desert, he heard that Nabal was shearing sheep. So he sent 10 young men and said to them, "Go up to Nabal at Carmel and greet him in my name. Say to him, long life to you, good health to you and your household, and good health to all that is yours. Now I hear that it is sheep shearing time. When your shepherds were with us, we did not mistreat them, and the whole time they were at Carmel, nothing of theirs was missing. Ask your own servants, and they will tell you. Therefore be favorable toward my young men. Since we come to a festive time, please give your servants and your son David whatever you can find to them." When David's men arrived, they gave Nabal this message in David's name, and they waited. Nabal answered David's servants, "Who is this David? Who is this son of Jesse? Many servants are breaking away from their masters these days. Why should I take my bread and water and the meat I have slaughtered for my shearers, and give it to men coming from who knows where?" O nga naman. Alam guys, sa panahon namin, sa generation natin ngayon, pagka strangers, mag-i-entertain ba tayo ng strangers? Tapos basta na lang tayo gagamit ng pangalan ng tayo kasi ngayong generation na to, hindi na tayo marami na kasing manluloko. So yung tiwala natin medyo ilag tayo. Hindi naman sa syempre mag-iingat lang tayo guys, di ba? Pero sa panahon nila, basta na lang pupunta. Ayan. Sa verse 11, "Why should I take my bread and water and the meat I have slaughtered for my shearers, and give it to men coming from who knows where?" David men turned around and went back. When they arrived, they reported every word. Yung dyan ko. Kaumpisa pa lang natin, umaangal na. When they arrived, they reported every word. David said to his men, "Put on your swords." So they put on their swords, and David put his. About 400 men went up with David, while 200 stayed with the supplies. One of the servants told Nabal's wife Abigail. One of the servants told Nabal's wife Abigail, David sent messengers from the desert to give our master his greetings, but he hurled insults at them. Yet these men were very good to us. They did not mistreat us, and the whole time we were out in the fields near them nothing was missing. Night and day, they were all around us all the time we were herding our sheep near them. Now think it over and see what you can do, because disaster is hanging over our master and his whole household. He is such a wicked man that no one can talk to him. Abigail lost no time. She took 200 loaves of bread, 2 skins of wine, 5 dressed sheep, 5 seahs of roasted grain, 100 cakes of raisins, and 200 cakes of pressed figs, and loaded them on donkeys. Then she told her servants, Go on ahead, I'll follow you. But she did not tell her husband, Nabal. As she came riding her donkey into a mountain ravine, there were David and his men descending toward her, and she met them. David has David had just said, It's been useless. All my all my watching over this fellow's property in the desert so that nothing of his was missing. He has paid me back evil for good. May God deal with David, be it ever so severely, if by morning I leave alive 1 male of all who belong to him. When Abigail saw David, she quickly got off her donkey and bowed down before David, with her face to the ground. She fell at his feet and said, My lord, let the blame be on me alone. Please let your servant speak to you. Hear what your servant has to say. May my lord pay no attention to the wicked man Nabal. He is just like his name. His name is full, and folly goes with him. But as for me, your servant, I did not see the man my master sent. Now since the Lord has kept you, my master, from bloodshed and from avenging yourself with your own hands, as surely as the Lord lives and as you live, may your enemies and all who intend to harm my master be like Nabal, and let this gift which your servant has brought to my master be given to the men who follow you. Please forgive your servants' offense, for the Lord will certainly make a lasting dynasty for my master, because he fights the Lord's battles. Nalilito na ako. Wait lang. Let no wrongdoing be found in you as long as you live. So verse 29, Even though someone is pursuing you to take your life, the life of my master will be bound securely in the bundle of the living by the Lord your God. But the lives, yung tiyan ko umaangal na, kaumpisa pa lang natin. Bilis na. Let no wrongdoing be found in you as long as you live, even though bundle of the living by the Lord your God. But the lives of your enemies we will hurl away as from the pocket of a sling. When the Lord has done for my master every good thing he promised concerning him, and has appointed him leader over Israel, my master will not have on his conscience the staggering burden of needless bloodshed, or of having avenged himself. And when the Lord has brought my master success, remember your servant. David said to Abigail, Praise be the Lord, the God of Israel, who has sent you today to meet me. May you be blessed for your good judgment and for keeping me from bloodshed this day, and from avenging myself with my own hands. Otherwise, as surely as the Lord, the God of Israel, lives, who has kept me from harming you, If you had not come quickly to meet me, not one male belonging to Nabal would have been left alive by daybreak. Then David accepted from her hand, and she had brought him and said, Go home in peace. I have heard your words and granted your request. When Abigail went to Nabal, he was in the house holding a banquet like that of a king. He was in high spirits and very drunk, so she told him nothing until daybreak. Then in the morning, when Nabal was sober, his wife told him all these things, and his heart failed him, and he became like a stone. About 10 days later, the Lord struck Nabal, and he died. Oh my God. Sabi na sa inyo, pagka magkabalik talaga ng araw, walang patawad. Kamatayan talaga katapat. Higpit, no? Sa verse 39, When David heard that Nabal was dead, he said, Praise be to the Lord, who has upheld my cause against Nabal for treating me with contempt. He has kept his servants from doing wrong and has brought Nabal's wrongdoing down on his own head. Then David sent word to Abigail asking her to become his wife. So, pang ilang wife na niya si Abigail? Di ba una niyang wife is si Michal, yung anak ni King Saul. So, yung pangalawa ngayon, yung widow ni Nabal, si Abigail. Then David sent word to Abigail asking her to become his wife. His servants went to Carmel and said to Abigail, David has sent us to you to take you to become his wife. She bowed down with her face to the ground and said, Here is your maidservant, ready to serve you and wash the feet of my master's servants. Abigail quickly got on donkey and attended by her 5 maids, went with David's messenger and became his wife. So, wala na tayong balita kay Michal. Si Abigail na yung asawa ni David. David has also married Ahinoam of Jezreel. So, ano ba yan? May pangatlo pa. Si Ahinoam naman. Magbibilang ng asawa si King David. Sa verse 43, guys. David had also married Ahinoam of Jezreel, and they both were his wives. But Saul has given his daughter Michal. Yes, yun nga ang number 1 na asawa niya, di ba? David's wife to Paltiel, son of Lais, who was from Galim. But Saul had given his daughter Michal, David's wife, to Paltiel, son of Lais, who was from Galim. So, yun. Sa chapter 26 na tayo. David again spares Saul's life. So, dito kabilangin natin yung asawa ni David. 3 na. Si Michal, si Abigail, at si Ahinoam. Hanggang ilang kaya asawa mo King David? Wala lang. Nung araw sa kanila pwede, no? Pero sabi, yung 10 Commandments ni Moses, do not commit adultery. Pero ang daming asawa eh. David again spares Saul's life. The Zibites went to Saul at Gibeah and said, Is not David hiding on the hill of Hakilah, which faces Jeshimon? So Saul went down to the desert of Ziph with his 3,000 chosen men. Wow! 3,000, isa lang yung hinahabol, 3,000 men. Chosen men of Israel to search there for David. Saul made his camp beside the road on the hill of Hakilah, facing Jeshimon, but David stayed in the desert. When he saw that Saul had followed him there, he sent out scouts and learned that Saul had definitely arrived. Then David set out and went to the place where Saul had camped. He saw where Saul and Abner, son of Ner, the commander of the army, had lain down. Saul was lying inside the camp, with the army encamped around him. David then asked Ahimelech the Hittite and Abishai son of Zeruiah, Joab's brother, who will go down into the camp with me to Saul? I'll go with you, said Abishai. Abishai or Abishai? Abishai. Abishai. So David and Abishai went to the army by night, and there was Saul lying asleep inside the camp with his spear stuck in the ground near his head. Abner and the soldiers were lying around him. Abishai said to David, "Today God has delivered your enemy into your hands. Now let me pin him to the ground. With one thrust of my spear I will strike him twice." But David said to Abishai, "Don't destroy him. Who can lay a hand on the Lord's anointed and be guiltless?" Ito ba yung ano? Di ba nga nag-usap na sila na inano niya lang yung clothes ni King Saul. Parang inulit yata. Hindi niya pinatay yun, di ba sabi niya, bakit mo ako, wait, pagpatuloy nga natin kung pareho siya. Kasi parang nabasa na natin yun. But David said to Abishai, "Don't destroy him who can lay a hand on the Lord's anointed and be guiltless. As surely as the Lord lives," he said, "the Lord himself will strike him. Either his time will come and he will die, or he will go into battle and perish. But the Lord forbid that I should lay hand on the Lord's anointed. Now get the spear and water jug that are near his head, and let's go." So David took the spear and water jug near Saul's head and the left. No one saw or knew about it, nor did anyone wake up. They were all sleeping because the Lord had put them into a deep sleep. Then David crossed over to the other side and stood on top of the hill some distance away. There was a wide space between them. He called out to the army, and Abner, son of Ner, "Aren't you going to answer me, Abner?" Abner replied, "Who are you who calls to the king?" David said, "You are a man, aren't you? And who is like you in Israel? Why didn't you guard your lord the king? Someone come to destroy your lord the king. What you have done is not good. As surely as the Lord lives, you and your men deserve to die, because you did not guard your master, the Lord anointed. Look around you, where are the king's spear and water jug that were near his head?" Saul recognized David's voice and said, "Is that your voice, David, my son?" David replied, "Yes, it is my lord the king." And he added, "Why is my lord pursuing his servant?" Nabasa na nga natin to. Inulit ko ba? Yun, sa verse 24, ay sa chapter 24, guys. Kaya sabi ko, familiar masyado. So, yung chapter 24, tsaka yung chapter 26, pareho. Ng 1 Samuel, ha. Yung chapter 24, tsaka 26. Ayan, sa chapter 24, David spares Saul's life. Tapos dito sa chapter 26, David again, pangalawa na. David again spares Saul's life. Kaya pala sabi ko, pareho. Saul recognized David's voice and said, "Is that your voice?" Sabi ko sa inyo pagka ganitong madaling araw, familiar sa akin magbasa. Pumapasok sa utak ko. Akala ko inulit natin. Okay, dito na tayo sa verse 17, guys. Saul recognized David's voice and said, "Is that your voice, David, my son?" David replied, Yes, it is my Lord. Yes, it is my Lord the king." And he added, "Why is my Lord pursuing his servant? And what have I done, and what wrong am I guilty of? Now let my Lord the king listen to his servant's words." If the Lord has incited you against me, then may he accept an offering. If, however, men have done it, may they be cursed before the Lord. They have now driven me from my share in the Lord's inheritance, and have said, Go serve other gods. Now do not let my blood fall to the ground far from the presence of the Lord. The King of Israel has come out to talk for a plea, as one hunts a partridge in the mountains. Then Saul said, I have sinned. Come back, David, my son, because you considered my life precious. Today I will not try to harm you again. Surely I have acted like a fool and have erred greatly. Here is the king's spear, David answered. Let one of your young men come over and get it. The Lord rewards every man for his righteousness and faithfulness. The Lord delivered you into my hands today, but I would not lay a hand on the Lord's anointed, as surely as I valued your life today. So may the Lord value my life and deliver me from all trouble. Then Saul said to David, May you blessed my son David, you will do great things and surely triumph. So David went on his way and Saul returned home. So yun, pangalawang ligtas na niya sa buhay ni King Saul. Akala ko na ulit-ulit natin kasi halos pareho talaga nung nandito na tayo sa Luke chapter 12 verse 32 to 59. Basa na guys. Do not be afraid, little flock, for your Father has been pleased. Ulit. Verse 32 ng Luke chapter 12. Do not be afraid, little flock, for your Father has been pleased to give you the kingdom. Sell your possessions and give to the poor. Yeah, ito yung pinakamahirap gawin ng mga mayayaman. Pero yung aming pandemic hero, ginawa niya yan. Si Epi Alagin. Lahat ng kayamanan niya halos bininta para sa mga mahihirap. Sell your possessions and give to the poor. Provide horses for yourselves. Kaya nga idol namin yun. Idol namin pagdating sa humanitarian. Sell your possessions and give to the poor. Provide horses for yourselves and will not wear out treasure in heaven. Yun nga lagi niya sinasabi para magkaroon ng upuan sa langit. That will not be exhausted where no thief comes near and no moth destroys. For where your treasures is, there your heart will be also. Tsaka naniniwala na talaga ako guys na yung kayamanan mo, hindi mo yan madadala sa pag ikaw namatay, di ba? Lahat may iwan. Pag-aaway-awayan lang yan ng mga maiiwan mong yung mga magmamana. So, basta tayo, para sa akin, importante malusog ka, importante wala kang sakit, importante yung makaraos ka sa isang araw, okay na yan. Huwag mong asamin na yumaman ka sa masamang gawain. Pag yumaman ka sa magandang gawain, yun, ibig sabihin, bigay ni Father God sa'yo yun. Pero pag yumaman ka sa masamang gawain, no good. Aanin mong kayamanan, hindi mo naman madadala sa langit, diba? Jesus warns about preparing for His coming. Sa verse 35, be dressed ready for service and keep your lamps burning like men waiting for their master to return from a wedding banquet, so that when he comes and knocks, they can immediately open the door for him. It will be good for the servants whose master finds them watching when he comes. I tell you the truth, he will dress himself to serve will have them recline, and the table and will come and wait on them. It will be good for the servants whose master finds them ready, even if he comes in the second or third watch of the night. But understand this, if the owner of the house had known at what hour the thief was coming, he would not have let this house be broken into. He also must be ready, because the Son of Man will come and at an hour when you do not expect him. Peter asked, Lord, are you telling this parable to us or to everyone? The Lord answered, who then is the faithful and wise manager whom the master puts in charge of his servants to give them their food allowance at the proper time? It will be good for the servant whom the master finds doing so when he returns. I tell you the truth, he will put him in charge of all his possessions. But suppose the servant says to himself, my master is taking a long time in coming, and he then begins to beat the men servants and maid servants, and to eat and drink and get drunk. The master of the servant The master of the servants will come on a day when he does not expect him, and at an hour he is not aware of. He will cut him to pieces and assign him a place with the unbelievers. That servant who knows his master's will and does not get ready or does not do what his master wants will be beaten with many blows. But the one who does not know and does things deserving punishment will be beaten with few blows. From everyone who has been given much, much will be demanded, and from the one who has been entrusted with much, much more will be asked. Jesus warns about coming division. I have come to bring fire on the earth. Oh no. Sorry, nahulog yung ballpen. And how I wish were already kindled, but I have baptism to undergo, and how distressed I am until it is completed. Do you think I come to bring peace on earth? No, I tell you, but division. From now on, there will be 5 in one family divided against each other, 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. They will be divided, father against son, and son against father, mother against daughter, and daughter against mother, mother-in-law against daughter-in-law, and daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. Jesus warns about the future crisis. He said to the crowd, when you see a cloud rising in the west, immediately. When you see a cloud, tandaan natin to guys. Sa verse 54, he said to the crowd, when you see a cloud rising in the west, immediately you say, it's going to rain, and it does. So pag ang cloud is galing sa west, uulan. Wait lang. Sumuko yung lalamunan ko. Pero malapit na tayo matapos. Sa verse 54, he said to the crowd, when you see a cloud rising in the west, immediately you say, it's going to rain, and it does. So yun ang palatandaan natin guys, pag yung cloud is doon sa west, uulan siya. May napulot na tayong aral dito. And when the south wind blows, you say, it's going to be hot. Oh, really? And when the south wind, nakalagay guys and when the south wind blows, you say it's going to be hot. So, pag galing sa south yung hangin, magiging mainit. And it is. Hypocrites, you know how to interpret the appearance of the earth and the sky. How is it that you don't know how to interpret the present time. Really? Eh, ako nga ngayon ko lang din nalaman tong mga palatandaan na to eh. Pag ang, ano daw, pag ang cloud daw, pag makakita daw tayo ng cloud na rising in the west, uulan. Pagka magkaroon ng south wind blows, mainit. So yun, ngayon lang natin nalaman yun. Hypocrites, you know how to interpret the appearance of the earth and the sky. How is it that you don't know how to interpret this present time? Why don't you judge for yourselves and what is right? As you are going with your adversary to the magistrate, try hard to be reconciled to him on the way, or he may drag you off to the judge, and judge turn you over to the officer, and the officer throw you into the prison. I tell you, you will not get out until you have paid the last penny. So yun. May naintindihan ba tayo? Bye everyone. God bless.